gentlemen.
Uh-oh.
It's time for the Early Bird Special. Bringing you the best stories from the world of sports and sports entertainment. Now, here are your hosts, Sparky and Burdick.
Welcome back. This is the Early Bird Special, Hour 2, and it's Tuesday, so you know what time it is. Our boy KG's in the building. It's time to talk a little bit of wrestling.
You already know what time it is. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. You hear the alarm. There is so much that happened this WrestleMania weekend, I can barely contain myself, good sir. First of all, shout out to my man Bird. Shout out to my man Sparky in the house. I don't think we've had enough wrestling.
No.
America, have you had enough wrestling?
4 straight days? No.
Oh, no.
I think Vegas has.
Vegas has definitely had enough wrestling.
Vegas can never wrestle enough with its own demons, but we're not going to get into that because what happens out there stays out there, my friend. Hey,
Does it, though?
I heard you had a luchador in the studio Friday. El Dorado Lobo.
Are we going to do this?
Nice guy. I ran into him in the hallway.
Thanks, Chad.
Real nice guy.
Thanks, Chad Gable.
He was hey, when I say like meeting professional wrestlers is really cool. Like it was an experience but nonetheless, folks, we got a lot to get in today.
Yes, we do.
Chris, kick it off.
So we already went through our WrestleMania thoughts technically yesterday, but we haven't gotten to talk to you about it yet. So real quick recap of what you thought of WrestleMania weekend. Was it a high for you? Was it a low for you? Where did it land on your spectrum of excitement?
I feel like I'm in therapy. Well, it was a roller coaster of emotions.
That's Thursday's show.
But no, seriously, a roller coaster of emotions is an understatement to say. Nonetheless, that I know some of the fans, they were on the edge of their seats.
Yeah,
I was one of them from home.
Yeah.
So I think WrestleMania night 1. Actually, if I was to give it a 10-star rating, I would give it a 7.8. It was not bad. There were some things that I were expecting, but you're going to be swerved on as a fan, that I can live with.
Right.
Jey Uso winning the world title. Right call.
That.
Right call. The title changes that did happen throughout the course of the night were the right calls. The end of the night, a lot of people had a problem with John Cena winning, but I was one of them that wasn't.
Yeah, I'm cool with it.
I was cool with that. Night 2, also the title changes that happened. The surprise guest spot from Joe Hendry, I think all the way around, without an appearance from The Rock, which is something that we were all counting on, it was a success. Okay, they broke all the records that they always break. They surpassed every gate imaginable financially that they've made previously in all their sellout arena shows from this year. I would have to say that WrestleMania 41 2025 was a 9.2 overall.
Okay,
not a 10, but I give it some. I had some things that I disagreed with, but like anyone, you get a new sandwich, you might not like the pickles on it. Just toss them out.
Sure.
So I can live with it. But let's slide
that
right
was
on
pretty
in.
much the consensus of Sparky and our friend yesterday that was in studio as well. But I personally thought night 1 was better because night 1 left me wanting more, while night 2 was more of like okay, it's kind of done.
Speaking of wanting more, how'd you feel about Monday Night Raw last night?
So for those of you
it's a
who
new
understand,
season.
It is.
Go ahead and break it down to him, Chris.
So the way WWE works is WrestleMania is essentially the Super Bowl. This is where the entire thing ends. But for them, their off season is all of maybe 20 minutes. It really.
We would like to say a grace period of 24 hours,
It's
maybe
not.
12, maybe a good night's sleep.
No,
No.
not even close. Paul Levesque, Triple H, the guy who runs the whole show, was given the sheets for the next day, literally 20 minutes after the last match was done. And that was essentially their off season. So this first Raw, which was last night live from Vegas, was essentially their kickoff of the new year. And it did not disappoint in any way, shape, or form. We've already talked about the Pat McAfee situation a little bit.
We're kicking it off with
John Cena
coming out,
wearing the belt backwards.
How do you feel about him blanking out everything and just going with a very simple entrance?
Dark entrance.
Very simple.
The entire story of this John Cena title run is that he is here to quote unquote ruin wrestling.
The last real champion you will ever see.
And everybody's believing that this is going to end at his PLE, which you have mentioned, the Ruthless Aggression PLE, which is yet to be announced. But they believe that there's going to be a new title that's also going to be created that could potentially come in later. But I think it's just going to be the hardcore championship.
I'm all for that if they redo and redefine this era with a new world title, because it would also seem symbolic of retiring this championship that we've come to know in every iteration of it. To see it retired properly, it would serve as something that would gain more interest and generate sales on their website.
Well, my question is, we kind of knew Orton would start the next feud, as he mentioned it, with Cody a month or two ago. He said, after WrestleMania, I'm going after the belt.
No matter who has it.
No matter.
Which we all knew was going to be John, because the John Cena, Randy Orton rivalry has been
how interesting
legendary.
Is it that over the years, every time they've clashed,
it's
Cena's
been the other
face,
way, right? Yeah.
Orton's been a heel.
And
now Orton's a face. Now Cena's the heel.
Now, does it seem it's already set that Cena holds the belt until the end of the retirement tour?
I think so, or at least towards the end of it, maybe he gets to take it off of him. But I don't see Randy taking it off of him at Backlash. It's a little too early. And going back to your question about him taking off, because now John Cena comes out without the video package that everybody's so used to, and all you see is John Cena with a black background. I think that's on purpose because he wants to ruin the allure of wrestling, and the only way to do that is to take out the spectacle of it. But that's where this is going to clash, in my opinion, is Randy is just going after the belt. This isn't going to be adding to the story very much, which means we're going to get some sort of interference to stop him from getting the
belt. I think Randy's 14th or 15th title. No, he's on 14, right?
14, yeah.
Okay, so his 15th title run will come at a certain time. He's got a good couple years left in him. I'd say about 2 or 3. But nonetheless, this sparks for a very interesting backlash in St. Louis coming up.
Right, because that's where he's from, and obviously he's all over the promo posters already for the next PLE. So I kind of saw that coming, though. When the WWE goes to someone's home, usually they're on the card, except for certain situations, but we'll get to in a second, because I do have some audio I want to play for you before I get you out of here. But going forward real quick, before we move on to the next part of this, John Cena and Randy Orton, obviously they are trying to reignite a rivalry that is nostalgic for every millennial. I think
we've all kind of grown up with them.
Again, everybody except Sparky.
There's always some type of blasphemous statement from this guy.
You know what we're going to do? We're going to start a YouTube video series where we sit Sparky down and he watches all of the matches that he missed out on that we grew up with.
So we're just going to be filming him sleep.
Apparently.
Okay. All right.
But
there's nothing weird about that at all.
Just like his match at WrestleMania.
Okay, but see, I have turned Sparky into a Rhea fan, so I feel like I can do this.
He's responsible for you wearing the guy liner and the purple and the leather and all that.
It's actually Stephanie McMahon, because the episode of Stephanie's Places with her is the one that got me over. But no, it won't happen with Orton. I just can't stand the guy.
But my question was going to be this. We had a return yesterday of Rusev, longtime rival of John Cena.
Rusev Machka, Rusev Crush.
I didn't understand that whole thing, so you guys have to break me down.
All right. Let me go ahead and introduce this to you real quick. The New Day.
New Day?
The New Day basically has broken the title reign record. And they are, 13-time now?
I believe so, something like that.
13 or 14-time tag champions, which is a remarkable feat in itself. I love the new vein heel gimmick that they're coming out on. They remind me of crew members from Dipset in the early 2000s, the way they dress right now. But, hey, as long as they ain't got Jim Jones coming out with them, I think they're all right now. So they go out to celebrate. They get challenged by American Alpha, or the Alpha Academy, whatever the group Chad Gable left was. Otis and Tozawa, basically. Now, this match impromptu kicks off. Then we have the lights go out. Chris, you want to take it from there?
So, basically, we see the return of longtime WWE, I guess call him a heel. Rusev is a very, very favored heel in the game. He has been gone for the last 5 years with AEW and many other organizations, I guess the best way to put it, but he has returned, and that's why I feel like we're going to get maybe another match between him and John Cena as well, because it seems to me like the WWE may want to just go down not just John Cena's how do you
greatest
put it?
Hits?
Greatest hits, thank you.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. Great way to put it.
in a way go down his greatest hits of Rivals before he gets out of here.
Yeah.
Because we could also, let's not forget, the Rock Cena rivalry we can get one more out of. Roman and Cena we can get one more out of. I am going to guarantee Seth Rollins we're going to get a match out of that at some point, unless they're, unless for some reason the two line together. I mean, there's a handful of others, but I think those are the ones that are the main ones you're going to see. It's going to have to be. See? I've said Rusev for a while now.
Do you think it ends with Cody again?
Yes.
Got to.
It has to.
It's got to.
But a different Cody. I think this is where, not Cody Lander, but this is where we're going to get the serious, like, I'm here to handle business Cody.
I think this sets up for what we're going to see at SummerSlam. Because right now is the perfect time for Cody Rhodes to be written off of television. True. He's been carrying the company for a while. He's been making all the media rounds. Give him a brief hiatus. Whether it's by hook or by crook, John Cena will retain at Backlash,
yeah,
which might spark a return for us seeing Cody Rhodes here and there along the way leading towards SummerSlam.
Mm-hmm.
It might not be as heavy of a Cody introduction to the audience because these last 4 to 5 days, we've seen the audience turn on him from SmackDown to night one,
which
it's
Cena brought up
to night two.
Yeah, it's a very swift change too.
But this happened to him in AEW as well.
Yeah,
it's like Cody can do no right for these finicky fans.
And let's not forget too, John has done multiple media appearances now since WrestleMania. He was on Pat McAfee show yesterday. He did the post-show press conference the day before, and he hasn't given anybody anything. Closest that he gave was the Pat McAfee show yesterday when he pretty much told him, look, I want to answer all of these questions for you, but until this entire thing is over, I can't do that.
How do you feel about John Cena admitting that the fans pressured him and
into becoming this person essentially?
Yeah, actually, I was going to say about him getting hair transplant surgery, but that hurt.
That was funny.
that hurt.
That was funny.
That was funny, but that pain came from a real
LeBron
place.
Did it too.
Yeah.
LeBron did it too.
But did he really?
I don't know. I shouldn't say that.
I'm not saying. Hey,
I'm just saying the man's hairline was receding for years. The internet caught on to it, and now his hairline is magically back. I don't know exactly how you can do that outside of Rogaine.
I'm just tired of seeing ads for hymns in my social media scrolls. All right,
you're never gonna stop seeing.
We're all seeing.
You're never gonna stop seeing him.
Like my everything works. Stop sending me this. Like,
we're at the age now, my friend. We're getting there.
On, man.
Okay, just calm down.
All right, let's go to the next.
Moving on to the next big topic, because instead of going down the actual match card, let's just talk about the main highlights of what happened last night. Becky Lynch obviously came back during WrestleMania. They had a
girls got their titles back.
They did, or now
indeed 4-time women's tag team champions right there.
Which I think at this point they're doing that because they need the women's tag belts to have
a reason, a meaning.
Not necessarily a meaning, but you need to build the history a little bit more. We see the men's side.
Legitimize them with some names.
We see the men's side that the New Day 13-time champions. The Dudley Boys are ridiculous amounts of champions. The Usos.
It's a question.
Well, it just
the
didn't
highest
make sense.
for the women were Liv and Raquel at 3 times.
Well, it's like we talked about yesterday. Is the whole Lyra and Becky was whole setup because after we saw Becky just beat the living crap out of her after.
I still feel like I know I told you this off air, but I feel like Becky Lynch is going to be a part of this Seth Rollins and Paul Heyman group.
That would be awesome.
Point.
It could happen. As they used to say in the old McWorld commercials, it could happen.
I'm just saying, like, obviously Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch are married in real life. They've been very outspoken about wanting to do something together in their careers at some point. Why not do it now?
You're looking at a new authority, a new McMahon-Helmsley type of era or regime/legacy carved in with that.
Exactly.
We've got some comments about that later on that we.
Well, I mean, let's get into that because that is technically the next big thing that happened yesterday outside of Becky beating up on Lyra after they lost, essentially doing what Trish Stratus did to her a year ago.
Returning the favor. Here's your receipt, kid.
So this is a setup where she sets up the title match with Lyra.
With Lyra, yeah.
But what this does, though, it adds some weight and legitimacy to the Intercontinental title in the women's division for it to be handled correctly. Now, that's great to put it on a fledgling superstar like Lyra Valkyria, but when you put it on Becky Lynch, it's not the title making the person, it's the person making the title. This is where the importance, this is where the marketability, the visibility for this new Netflix era kicking off is very important because we're having a Women's Revolution pay-per-view part 2 come up this year. It's been in the works. It's been cooking. Why do you think WWE's women's division over all three brands is so stacked right now?
Which we saw last night with a lot of the NXT girls coming up, which is the next up-and-comers. And do you believe what I said, or what me and Sparky were talking about earlier? I think with this new season kicking off, they have finally moved NXT into the third show now rather than the developmental league of the WWE?
That is a great question, and I feel like it's a clickbait question, and that's lazy journalism, so step your game up.
Thanks, John. But no, I genuinely believe that. You saw that yesterday with the champion, Stephanie Vicaire, coming and challenging the women's world champion in Io Sky.
Somewhere Booker
Great
T
match.
was punching the air.
It was a fantastic match.
Doing it out
awesome
somewhere.
And I see
man.
I see Io and Stephanie teaming up next.
And just to bring this up full circle again, this is why Stephanie Vicaire is on my Mount Rushmore of NXT women's wrestlers. Adam and Paige, you can come into the state, or you can come into this studio and flip me off and tell me all the reasons why I'm wrong with it. I'm sorry. That's why she is legit. She's the game.
I'm gonna keep it real. La Primera is the next big thing across all the brands.
Yeah.
I would actually quote JD from NY 206 into saying you are looking at maybe the next woman to headline a WrestleMania night 1 or night 2.
Julia as well. I think
Definitely.
is another one.
Even if it's a
Well,
fatal
all five of those women,
four-way.
honestly, all five of those women in the ring yesterday, Rhea, Io, Julia, Roxanne Perez, and Stephanie Vicaire, all are fantastic athletes and will most likely headline the PLEs for the years to come, to be honest.
Most definitely.
Moving on real quick, though, because one of the major things that happened yesterday that we have to get to is we got an answer finally of why this entire turn happened with Paul Heyman, why he turned on CM Punk and on Roman Reigns. Now, Paul went on the Pat McAfee show as well yesterday and explained his side of everything, claiming that CM Punk put him in a bad position, putting him against his tribal chief. And then the reason why he turned on Roman is because Roman treated him so poorly at the end, including the push down on Raw and the, acts of violence against him. But this obviously set up to another question on McAfee, which I should have pulled. I should have pulled this yesterday when I was listening to it. But they asked him who the next Heyman guy is.
And he said, I'm going to go shopping.
He didn't say he was going to go shopping. He said he already knew. Yeah. He said he already had it in the works, which we saw last night. And we find out that I'm getting my number one faction of all dang time, the Heyman guys, because
this is a new SmackDown 7. This is a new Dangerous Alliance.
Paul Heyman has chosen Braun Breaker, the son of Rick Steiner, nephew of Big Papa Pump Scott Steiner.
Hey, wait a minute.
And arguably the biggest
mathematician ever in the wrestling industry.
The greatest Steiner mather of all time.
That was
you got 33 and a third percent chance.
Hell of a curveball, man. And I love it. That is my favorite. I was really pumped with Seth after WrestleMania, on top of now throwing Braun Breaker in the mix.
It's going to be interesting. He's one of the hottest talents of all time, or of the young generation coming up, I should say. And we were talking about this on the phone yesterday. There have been factions that have been built like this, where it is essentially the evolution. If anybody remembers back in the early 2000s, you had Triple H, Ric Flair, Batista, and Randy Orton.
Boom.
This kind of feels to me kind of similar. You're going to get Paul Heyman as the Ric Flair. You're going to get Seth Rollins as the Triple H. I think Braun Breaker is more than likely the Batista of the group.
That's your muscle. That's your heavy.
So we are going to be looking out for who the fourth member of this group is here in the next coming weeks.
And my opinion on that very conversation and statement, people may find it unpopular, but it is all reasonable in the sound logic of reality, of stretching kayfabe and wrestling, and it fits right into this pocket. Logan Paul.
I
don't see that one.
I hate
Logan.
I see Cross.
I would like Cross. We would like Cross as fans that see who deserves to be put in a spot. That is a possibility. But in all logistics, who's hated more right now? Karrion is getting over.
And what about Finn?
No, too old.
No,
and I don't mean that. I don't mean that disrespectfully.
Just because
he's got his own storyline building with the collapse of Judgment Day and
JD back
and possible resurrection of Bullet Club.
So that's what I was hoping. coming back yesterday, and honestly, that's why I keep Dom out of the conversation too, because I would love to see Dirty Dom in that situation. But the story they have building around him.
His rocket is taking off once again to even higher heights, which I didn't think was even possible with Dominic Mysterio right now. Very, very elated to see him get his comeuppance right there.
And we'll get to Karrion Kross here in a second because I have some audio I want to play for you too that I think we just saw a glimpse behind the scenes that we weren't supposed to see.
Oh yeah, with his contract information being leaked. It was very
well, not just that, but
real.
Again, we'll get in that in a second.
But does this set up a kind of a tag team thing with CM Punk and Roman?
Probably. I would assume that is where they are headed for at least Backlash.
I would feel the same because the way the segment unfolded, I think it shocked, but then we had to be reminded that Paul Heyman has been courting Braun Breaker, for about 4 years now.
Yeah, since the early Roman Reigns bloodline days.
Yeah, we're talking when Braun Breaker was still spray painting his beard in NXT.
I forgot about that.
Yeah. Okay, men.
He was doing this.
All right, all the fellas out there get those enhancements.
Don't do it.
Stop.
You don't
Stop.
need it.
It's hot out here. Summertime is coming. We ain't trying to see the side of your fence leaking. Hey man, your mascara's running. No, stop that right now because it wasn't what you see those matches. It's rubbing off. Anyway, let's continue.
Yes. It goes back to Danny McBride and the Righteous Gemstones.
Thank you very much. Great show to watch, everybody.
Yes. Oh man, I totally forgot he used to.
But the way the segment unfolded, the intensity, the rapid pace of it, you felt like Raw was going off the air when CM Punk was laid out. Roman appears, gives Paul Heyman a quarter of a receipt, lines up for a spear, just to be chopped in half with an even more intense, viciously violent spear by Braun Breaker, who for some reason looks bigger than he did on WrestleMania.
And then a couple stomps from Seth, and it was over.
It was the alignment of something that I didn't even know I wanted to see. Fan.
I personally I talk ill of people who play my GM mode all the time, but I have loved this pairing for a while. I don't know why they just always fit to me. But
this is exactly what it is.
It really is. Like I honestly, Seth Rollins, I wouldn't be surprised if like the fourth guy was maybe like Tyler Bates or Nathan Frazier, because Nathan Frazier has a background with Seth Rollins too. But I feel like he's going to be pulling in people that are going to quote unquote help him save wrestling. That's why I feel like this is going to be the antithesis to the Rock's group, who is trying to ruin wrestling.
This is a great time to be a wrestling
Cody would
fan.
be a great choice.
Even for casual watchers, this is a great time to be a wrestling fan right now. Even non-fans, I see, are tuning in, commenting, leaving some type of interest or opinion on these feeds, these platforms, these PLEs that are strung about on every advertisement that you could possibly fathom to view entertainment.
It would also be cool to see Gunther, because he's always talking about the respect of wrestling and all this, so he would fit perfect. And it looks like he's falling out of
dude,
with all that with McAfee.
Saw yesterday, I don't know what the heck.
I think Gunther is crashing out, Joe.
Yes,
dude,
it looks
he
like
choked out Michael Cole and Pat McAfee at the same time.
Even though we haven't seen any action from Ludwig in a while, we haven't seen anything. I wonder what his storyline growing into these next couple of weeks will be, as well as we still have Friday SmackDown to see how their characters will react to what happened over the WrestleMania weekend. Tiffy Stratton, chipped tooth, or was it just a loose veneer? We won't know.
Damian Priest.
Yeah, Damian Priest.
McIntyre, yeah.
I still stand by that. It looked like a chipped tooth. When I was watching that, I was like, no, she chipped a tooth.
Well, they've got some of the best medical staff. They were in Vegas. I'm pretty sure there's a dentist on hand. Because these things happen quite regularly with WWE wrestlers.
And there's probably some spackle or something that you could make to make a fake tooth.
Just to get you to a dentist within 24 hours.
Shiloh needs to find that guy.
Now don't go out.
Shiloh Hill does that on purpose.
Now don't go out drinking that night before you go see the dentist and your tooth fall off and you drink. But hey, it's not like I haven't seen that happen before.
Funny. The LFG athlete Shiloh Hill, who used to be a linebacker for the Stanford Cardinals, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
When he was talking about that story, how he lost his tooth and stuff, apparently he got it fixed, and then it happened again in the WWE. So he said, "You know what? I'm just keeping it out."
I'm pretty sure he has a pop in.
Oh, he does.
He does.
There are multiple situations where you see him with the tooth and without the tooth. So, but real quick before I let you go, because we are running out of time,
let's go.
We've already mentioned it a little bit. Karrion Kross, who's one of my favorite wrestlers and a great MMA fighter and a lot of other stuff. I think he was one of the main winners at Bloodsport over the weekend.
Yes, indeed.
Oh, that was a great fight too.
Yes, it was. And had an intervention inside one of these matches, which actually happened to be the Logan Paul match. Don't worry about the bite 1, Sparky. I want to hear bite 2. So this is the part where I thought was interesting. He went on the WrestleMania recap show right after this. We don't know if this is a shoot or if this is legitimately him being frustrated.
This is a classic case of frustration crashing out in public.
And I honestly believe this is frustration, because all of this began with the storyline that he hated AJ Styles for losing to Logan Paul, who is an outsider and not somebody who deserves to be in the game,
which legitimizes his wrestling ambitions.
Yes, and he obviously, there's been a long history of him trying to work his way into the industry and all of that type of stuff, and his 11 years of work to get to where he is, and Logan Paul obviously just comes in a year and makes it all look effortless and make it all look stupid. So I want to play this for you and get your thoughts on this, my friend, because there's a second part to this blow up. I believe the beginning of this was meant to be a promo for that build up, as we saw last night again. But I think the second part of this that we're about to play is actually his frustrations with the company. So let's hear from Karrion real quick.
You want to know what the best advice I ever got? It was from Bill Goldberg. 2021, back when I was in the Twilight Zone, you know what I mean? I'm wrestling for gasoline. It was awesome. Let me tell you all about it. Bill goes, hey, Cross, you know what? You remind me a lot of me. I go, I think we have different styles, Bill, but I really appreciate that. Do you have any advice for me? He goes, you know what? You just got to be a good soldier. A good soldier is what he said. So I decided to be a good soldier. You know what happened? They released me. And then I come back. You know what being a good soldier gets you, everybody here? Just so in case you're wondering, you want the back scoop here. Being a good soldier gets your times cut. Being a good soldier means that people come up to you and say, hey, you got any great ideas? Yeah, here it is from Scarlet. No. That's a little too great. We're looking just for good ideas. That's for those guys over there. That's what being a good soldier is, okay? Being a good soldier is coming to your hometown where you cut your teeth when we got started and not being on the card. It's all about viral moments now. That's what it's all about, viral moments. Well, Guy, everybody's been telling me that I got to become undeniable. And as soon as it happens, they ignore it and they shut it down. I never asked to wrestle Randy. I never asked. That happened organically, and you ignored it for a viral moment. And good on Joe. Nothing against him. But you ignored it. And the crowd told you exactly how they felt about me on SmackDown when I was eliminated. And you ignored it. Become undeniable. My ass. My ass. You want a viral moment? On behalf of all of the true fans of professional wrestling, Guy with the suit and tie in the truck, go yourself. That's from Killer Cross. No.
Ooh.
So now this does boil over multiple times in the wrestling world. You see guys go out of their way to go off script. And I think this was off script because if you watch the video, his wife, Scarlett, is very much concerned with the route he's going down.
Don't mess up that check, baby. That's what she's saying with her eyes.
Honestly, well, again, it is what it is, but this is actually proven to go the opposite way. Ever thought this was going to be the end of Karrion Kross's deal with the WWE, and because his deal was done at the beginning of the summer, but now this has got so viral, they want to keep him.
Now, in cases like this, where just like what you said, you would expect it to go one way and it goes the other. This is where you get to see a real gritty energy from somebody personally expressing and connecting with people's frustrations as fans in their everyday lives. Now, what we're going to see from this, very similar to Miz when he went off script with Daniel Bryan in Talking Smack, and that intense promo about him wrestling safe and not being this type of guy, really translated over to how people really start to garner more respect for Miz and the longevity of his career and what he does in putting people over and respect his position. Karrion Kross has been that guy.
Yeah.
He has been that guy.
He's been over for a long time.
He is a workhorse. He is a figurehead in that locker room of just kind of helping people put together matches behind the scenes. Very well liked in the locker room from what reports say. I've interacted with him on social media. He's very engaging and very respectful, very cool. So this, to me, this man really did express some truths about where he felt he needed to be in the company at WrestleMania in his hometown of Las Vegas. Anybody would feel that and sympathize with that. But more so, what I seen from it with AJ Styles and this interaction, could we, and we've already seen this, so he doesn't need a faction, but could we be preparing for Karrion Kross title run, a mid card.
I sure hope so.
I think he needs to be a main card title run. I honestly do. I don't think he's too big for the mid card.
Baby steps.
But see,
baby
that's
steps.
the thing.
Well, maybe with the Uso.
Maybe I could see
Possibly.
it with Jay.
Yeah, he could feud with that. Would be a good feud with Jay, even if he doesn't. We know he's not going to come out the winner, but it would still be good.
No, but
and I almost thought Sammy was going to turn on him last night. But
I think we were all kind of nervous about that. I was like, no,
especially when he was standing behind him when he was on the top rope.
I was like, come on, Sammy Uso, don't do this to me right now. It's been too much
with
going
the
on.
Cody Rhodes thing,
and then Paul Heyman with the low blow, and then doing the extra with it. I was disgusted.
Kevin Owens is out, so someone's got to be the bad Canadian at some point.
Somebody.
But I don't know. I kind of feel like he needs to go for a main title here, though, because I feel like building him up with wins against AJ Styles, against Logan Paul, maybe against Roman Reigns somewhere down the line,
definitely
could propel him towards at least a shot against, like you said, Jay or whoever has the title at that point, or even John Cena if Cena needs somebody in between, to keep carrying on, because we only have 30 plus more
27 appearances,
including here in Bakersfield.
Those aren't even guaranteed to be matches.
Yes,
that's what he said. I didn't say matches.
No,
I did not say matches. And we did get a text while we're talking wrestling. It said, "Quote me now. Austin Theory is the next guy."
Ooh, you know what?
To be
though?
With
I could see that.
Austin Theory in what
Austin
situation?
Theory. No, he breaks away from A-Town Down Under. Finally, like everybody wants.
It's needed to happen. It's needed to happen.
Or you take both. A-Town Down Under, and they become your tag titles.
Oh man, okay, yeah. That what they put in the coffee today. Everybody. All right, this man's cooking.
It has to be somebody that blends with Braun, one, because that's going to be your two main focuses of this group. And Seth is going to be the mouthpiece, and so is Paul. But you'll need the big guys to make all the moves.
In these type of situations, the younger guy or the second always overthrows the lead.
And I'm going to say
it happened in Evolution. It happened in Legacy. It happens in the Horsemen. It happens. You could go down the line. NWO, Bloodline. It happens.
I'm throwing out mine that I told you on the phone last night, Mr. Kimble. That the one that I would like to see be the fourth is Trick Williams.
Ooh.
I would like former NXT champion Trick Williams, who is on his way up to the main roster, be that fourth guy, come in as a main roster spot. And honestly, he would fit the bill very well of that Randy Orton-esque type wrestler with a lot of potential. And you could easily just start off the feud between him and Carmelo Hayes.
The reason I do agree and disagree with you on that is great opinion, great thesis, but all right now, Trick Williams is a face.
No, is he though?
He's
not though.
He's still getting cheered in NXT.
I understand that, but his character itself is turning heel.
It's kind of tweener right now. It's in between.
He's very much angry,
and it's one more super kick to Javon Evans, and he's
puts him over.
He's hated. He's hated forever right now.
With Heyman's group is they're supposed to be bad guys,
yes,
but everyone's loving them.
Exactly.
But that's my point. Why not continue that trend? They're all going to be the lovable heels. I
just feel like Logan Paul is the
Logan
guy.
Logan
for that
fits
situation.
In a sense of stardom. I think you're right on that one. But why have Logan, who's a notorious just talker, with two other talkers? It doesn't make a lot of sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, we can make sense of almost any wrestler.
It's
that
true,
fits
but
in there.
We are running out of time, though. We got to get to a break and pay some bills. So
pay them bills.
My friend, thank you once again for your time.
You're the man, KG.
Next week.
Hey, I appreciate you guys. I appreciate you so much. To our ESPN Early Bird Special listeners, make sure that you go over to YouTube and find us. Check out the podcast. Check out what we've got going on. And most definitely watch wrestling, because everything counts right now.
It's been so much fun to actually watch too, and honestly, everybody's covering it. ESPN's covering it. Fox Sports is covering
the
it.
new series of Netflix that they pumped up yesterday. Man,
absolutely
the behind the
scenes stuff you're gonna get during the summer. I mean, there's
Paul Heyman's comments on the Pat McAfee show. It was quite a weekend.
I heard he was the lead guy for the comedy roast that we'll never get to watch.
I heard he crushed.
I heard that roast was something that they need to put on Netflix or some type of PLE.
I think you will as soon as they clean up some of the jokes.
With a disclaimer.
Yeah. You'll get some of the jokes cleaned out that the world doesn't need to see. They're behind the scenes kind of thing. Yeah. And you'll get the rest of them.
Oh, yeah.
But we got to take a break real quick and pay some bills. KG, once again, thank you for your time, my friend. As always, we'll talk to you next week. But you are listening to the Early Bird Special right here on 101.1 FM, 12:30 a.m. ESPN Bakersfield, streaming live as well on YouTube at the Early Bird Special. We'll be right back.